We are very excited about many of the new features we've added to Fast Draw in the Preview tab. One thing you can now do is add a team logo to the bottom right-hand corner of your printouts. So to do so, simply click on File and Program Settings, click on Printing, and now you can choose your team name that you'd like to use. And these are team names that are listed in your Fast Draw library as teams. Now choose a logo. So to find the photo on your desktop, click on Browse and find that image and insert it. You also have the ability to add a proprietary notice at the bottom left-hand corner of your playbooks. So if you wanted to put property of LA Lakers or property of yourself, or you can just leave this blank if you would like to. So to have that object appear, you would click OK. Now if you're already in the preview menu, you'll notice it will not appear. So you'll need to click on Playbook and then back to Preview to let it refresh. And now you notice that logo will appear in the bottom right hand corner. One thing to be aware of is that logo will stay the exact same for every playbook. So if you want to change it for each team you're playing or scouting, you'll need to go back into the program settings and change that for each team you're creating a playbook for. Moving forward, we'll now go into more detail with all your print preview options. You'll now notice they have the option to format your playbooks, your chapters, and even your sections as we discussed earlier. Your print settings are defaulted settings that you can use from defaulted ones we've created, or once you create your own options down below, you can choose to save these options if you would like. So for instance, I will select the side-by-side print setting, and now I have the option in my frame layout to adjust, do I want left small, left large, plain, outlined. These are just things you can play with and figure out which way you'd like your plays to be set up. If you notice, now the play descriptions will appear to the right of the play when using these side by side. Additionally, you have the option to choose the rows per page for this setup, or if you decide to go with the stack, X by Y, old way, you can now choose frames per row or frames per page as well. So it will decrease the amount of size of each play and add plays accordingly to your setup. Additionally, you have the option to change the first row alternate. So if you wanted to have your first row of plays, for instance, a different size than the rest, this is a way you can do that. So if I want my first row to be side by side, the bottom row will then go to the stack. Moving on to play labels, you're now able to place the title play name above each play. As you can see here, if I zoom in a little bit, the play name appears. Additionally, you can add a subtitle below that play name. So I want to add my series, for instance. You can add series below that play name. Now, moving further in customization, you're now able to include labels either inside or outside of your play frame. The inside will place a description in one of the four corners inside as labeled top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. And the outside will place the label in the same location, only it will be outside of the frame of the court. So if I wanted to put something in the inside in the top left, I will select it, choose team, and now you notice the team displays in the LA Lakers demo there. If I want to put it outside, say in the bottom left, I want to put the season, you'll notice that the season now appears in the bottom left hand corner outside. You also have the option to include a frame description or not include it. Then the same layouts as last year in terms of starting each play on a new line, page breaks, table of contents, and cover pages. So once you have applied this entire setting to your playbook, you're now able to save it if you would like as your print settings and name it, my favorite settings or any sort of name you'd like. You also have the option to go back and clear the settings or reapply the print settings that we have defaulted as well. Now, to moving further, if you click on chapter, you'll now notice your chapters display here. So if I can choose, say chapter, my crunch time chapter, I can now decide to have this layout set up differently. So if I want this chapter to be a side-by-side small, for instance, Let me zoom out slightly. You'll notice when I go back to the previous pages, they are set up the same exact way. So I can have multiple plays set up differently depending on the plays or the chapter. And all of these same layouts and options apply as you have chosen. Now moving even further into your customization, you'll now click on your sections. So now within this ATO section, if you recall earlier, we added a section to it. So now you have section 2 and section 1. So under section 1, you can choose to use the side-by-side large. And in section 2, you can choose the side-by-side left small. So now if you notice, going through, you can apply different settings to each playbook, chapter, or section within your playbook.